The doctors rushed her to the emergency room. They had to do an emergency operation on her colon. This was the only way for her to survive. She knew it would come to this, but for some reason, once the doctor sedated her, they were confused. They did not know how to react once she was in the operating room. She baffled them completely. They were as confused as I was when I found out that you weren't subscribed. It was spring in a small Midwest town in America. You know, like the house in Forrest Gump, surrounded by the trees and everything. A young woman who was as gullible as a 6-year-old who had a van pull up and promise them candy, lived in that house with her family. Unfortunately, 2 of her family members had already died of colon cancer, and the house was completely grey and sullen. The woman thought the best thing to do would go to the doctors and get a diagnosis done. Once she arrived at the hospital, she started feeling weak, she started feeling nauseous, overwhelmed, and she almost collapsed as she sat down. When the doctor finally arrived to take her in, she literally screeched and threw herself on the floor. The bed she was placed on was going as fast as an F1 car, zooming past other patients, going to the finish line, which was the operating room. They scanned her colon to find a tumour. She was given the news, and her response was, "I knew it. Everyone in my house has cancer, I just knew it." She was not even sad. She had a defeated look on her face, one that you would see on a puppy that's just not been thrown a bone. The gas mask was put on her face to sedate her. Her eyelids closed, and the doctors were left bewildered. The tumour had just disappeared. They woke her up to tell her the good news, to tell her that she was fine. But when she awoke, the growth returned, as if it had always been there, as if it belonged there, its home. The doctor was a man of science, but also a reader of the New Thought movement, so about the subconscious and everything. So he understood what the case was. This woman, with the power of fear in her mind, had literally created a cancer in her body. So what the doctors did was actually pretty smart. They faked the operation, they put some bandages around her, they also actually put some fake blood, I don't know if it was real blood or fake blood, to be honest, that wasn't given in detail. They put some fake blood around her stomach to make it seem like she had an operation, and they told her to not take off the bandage after the wound had properly healed, which would take around 3 months. This would give enough time so that if she did tell them, "Hey, I haven't got any scars," they would tell her, "Perfect, they've healed amazingly." The woman returned home, and she was still surrounded by all her family members who unfortunately either had cancer or had recently died from cancer. Obviously, she wasn't surrounded by the ones that were dead, but you get the point. She finally felt okay, and that's all because of what was in her mind. The fear that she had literally created cancer in her body. So how do you think your fear is affecting you? I'm not here to tell you every cancer case is driven by fear, right? 1, I'm not a doctor. 2, I'm not some wishy-wishy woo-wah, right? I'm not going to tell you, hopefully, God forbid, you've dealt with cancer in your family. I'm not telling you they were scared of it and then they developed it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't seek medical attention. If you have an issue, just go to the bloody doctors, right? Someone is a bit ironic. I've had like a cough for a month and I still haven't been. But I do want to highlight the power of belief, and specifically the opposite of fear. You see, this woman's body, mind and spirit were all aligned with the creation of that cancer. The mind had to convince the body that she had cancer. The body then had to go and create the cancer and convince the spirit to believe that they had cancer. Therefore, the spirit would be weakened with the illness. This is called alignment, when your mind, body, and spirit are aligned with one actionable belief. For you, the reason you currently aren't successful, the reason you procrastinate, the reason you keep your bad habits, the reason you aren't making any money, you haven't found a wife or a spouse that you think is worthy of you, and the reason you aren't truly respected by yourself and your peers, it's because you either aren't aligned at all or you're aligned in the wrong direction. Now, this is where the premise of success optimization comes in. How do you align yourself? How do you align yourself with these 3 forces that I described, the mind, body, and soul, that God has given us to be able to succeed? Number 1 is fix your mind. This can be done using scientific principles and psychology. That means relearning to focus your thoughts, controlling your thoughts using auto-suggestion. And number 3, rewiring your beliefs, which is affirmations and behavioral change. Number 2 is fixing your body. No more junk food, no more lazy days. Eat the food you're supposed to eat and sleep properly. And number 3, most importantly, is fixing your soul. That means repenting, praying, aligning your intentions with God, and improving your taqwa, your God consciousness. These 3 are the main areas you have to focus on to effectively get to your goal in your life and be a happy, successful man. This means you won't procrastinate, so you won't have resistance, and you won't have these negative thoughts, and you're not gonna have all these bad habits. This is how you optimize your brain and you optimize your life for success. And if you're curious about the habits, I have a full Notion document you can download below to use for yourself. Full transparency, I didn't make the whole thing, I just used it and put it together. Now, this might be the first video you see of me, if not perfect, but if you don't know who I am, my name is Fedi Lecamus, and I've guided 30 Muslim entrepreneurs to a better future, to be optimized with success. That means getting closer to Allah and making more money. And I'm on a mission to help 1,000. Now, if you enjoyed the video, perfect. Because I would love if you leave me a thumbs up, if you subscribed. And now that you have a path for you to follow, these 3 things that you have to focus on, go back and rewatch those parts, right? You know your mind needs to be fixed. You know your body needs to be fixed. You know your spirit, your soul needs to be fixed. And once those 3 are aligned with your purpose, with your goal, I can promise you now, it is so easy. It is so easy to make it. Now, I do have a link at the top of the description. So if you're a Muslim and you've gotten into entrepreneurship or you already are an entrepreneur, then perfect, that link is for you. It is a sales page, just to be fully transparent. It's not a $9.97 course on some random business model or a halal business model that I found for you to follow along, right? You can click it, you don't have to, I don't care particularly, right? It's just for you to learn about what I can do to help you more than these videos. But anyways, Jazakum al khair, God bless you all, and I'll see you soon.
It was like halal, yeah?